Wars Among the Gods, Part 1. The Titanomachy, Zeus versus Cronus and the Titans. Long before the reign of the Olympian gods, the universe was ruled by an older, more ancient power, the Titans, massive and immortal beings who controlled the forces of nature. Their king, Cronus, sat upon a mighty throne, ruling with a grip of iron. But despite his power, he was haunted by a prophecy, a warning that one day one of his own children would rise up and overthrow him, just as he had done to his father, Uranus. Fear took hold of Cronus's heart. He had already betrayed his father, slicing him apart with a sickle given to him by his mother, Gaia. He had witnessed firsthand the cycle of rebellion, and he swore it would never happen to him. So, when his wife, Rhea, gave birth to their first child, he took no chances. The moment the infant, Hestia, was placed in Rhea's arms, Cronus ripped the baby away and swallowed her whole. The child was gone in an instant, consumed into the void of her father's immortal body. Rhea screamed in horror, but Cronus remained unmoved. "I will not suffer the same fate as my father," he declared, and so it became a terrible ritual. One by one, as Rhea gave birth, Cronus devoured his own children, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Each swallowed whole, their cries of terror muffled as they were imprisoned inside their father. Rhea was powerless to stop him. She was a goddess, but Cronus was a titan, mightier than any of her kind. She could only watch in despair as each of her children was taken from her. But when she became pregnant for the 6th time, something inside her snapped. She could not bear to lose another child. She ran to the ancient mother of all things, Gaia, seeking her counsel. "Help me," she begged. "Cronus will take this child, just as he took the others." Gaia, wise and ancient beyond measure, placed a gentle hand upon Rhea's shoulder and whispered, "Then we must deceive him." And so, on the night of her labor, Rhea traveled to the island of Crete, where she gave birth to a healthy baby boy, a child who would one day change the course of history. She named him Zeus. Then, wrapping a stone in swaddling cloth, she presented it to Cronus. "This is your son," she said, keeping her voice steady. Cronus took the bundle without question and swallowed it whole. And so Zeus was spared, hidden away deep within a cave on Mount Ida, where he would be raised in secrecy beyond the reach of his monstrous father. The rise of Zeus. Zeus did not grow up in the grand halls of the Titans. He did not have golden temples or feasts laid before him. He was raised in the wilderness, his cries drowned out by the warriors known as the Curetes, who clashed their spears against their shields to hide the sound of his wails. He was fed the milk of the divine goat Amalthea, and his cradle was woven from the branches of an ancient oak blessed by Gaia herself. As he grew, so too did his strength. By the time he was a young god, his body rippled with power, his eyes burned with divine fury, and his heart carried the unbreakable will to reclaim what had been stolen from him. When the time was right, Gaia whispered to him, "The moment has come. You must free your siblings and fulfill your destiny." Zeus descended from the mountains and made his way to Mount Othrys, where Cronus ruled. But he was wise, and he knew he could not fight his father alone. He sought the aid of Metis, the goddess of wisdom, who devised a plan. Under the guise of a simple servant, she infiltrated the great Titan's palace, slipping a powerful potion into his drink. Cronus, drunk on his own arrogance, drank deeply. The moment the elixir touched his lips, a violent shudder coursed through his body. He clutched his stomach, groaning in agony, and then, one by one, his long-swallowed children began to emerge. First came Hestia, then Demeter, then Hera, then Hades, then Poseidon, each of them reborn into the world, fully grown and filled with rage. The time for war had come, the war of the gods, the Titanomachy. The earth shook as the heavens split apart. Lightning and fire rained from the sky, and the once unshakable mountains crumbled under the weight of divine battle. On one side stood Zeus and his siblings, young, powerful, and filled with righteous fury. On the other stood Cronus and the Titans, ancient and unyielding, unwilling to relinquish their throne. For 10 long years, the war raged. The heavens were stained with fire, the oceans roared with fury, and the land trembled beneath the weight of their conflict. But despite their strength, the Olympians could not defeat the Titans. Realizing they needed greater power, Zeus descended into the depths of Tartarus, the abyss where the most ancient beings were imprisoned. There he freed the Cyclopes, one-eyed smiths of immense strength, and the Hecatonchires, 100-armed giants who had been imprisoned for centuries. In gratitude, the Cyclopes forged 3 legendary weapons: Zeus' thunderbolt, capable of splitting the sky; Poseidon's trident, which could shatter the earth itself; Hades' helm of darkness, which made him completely invisible to all foes. Armed with these weapons, the tide of battle shifted. Zeus hurled thunderbolts, scorching the Titans with divine fire. Poseidon struck the ground, shattering mountains and sending massive tidal waves crashing into their ranks. Hades slipped into the shadows, unseen, striking at the enemy with merciless precision. At last, Zeus delivered the final blow, hurling one last thunderbolt that ripped the heavens apart and struck Cronus down, sending him crashing into the abyss. With their king defeated, the remaining Titans fell into chaos, and one by one they were imprisoned in Tartarus. Their reign forever ended. The rise of the Olympians. The war was over. The Titans had fallen, and the world belonged to the Olympians. Zeus, standing at the peak of Mount Olympus, declared himself king of the gods. He divided the cosmos among his brothers. Poseidon claimed the seas, becoming the lord of the oceans. Hades took dominion over the underworld, ruling over the dead. Zeus claimed the skies, reigning supreme over all gods and mortals. The age of the Titans had ended, the age of the Olympians had begun. But Zeus's throne would not go unchallenged. Follow for part 2.